Not at all.
So she decided for now she could settle for just being his friend.
For you.
Settle for means to accept something that isn't exactly what you wanted, usually because it can't get anything better. For example, you really wanted a chocolate ice cream, but the shop only had vanilla left, so you settle for vanilla. Similar expressions like make do with also means to use or accept something that isn't ideal because there's no better option. Like if you don't have a proper tool for a job, use make do with whatever you have. Put up with is a bit different but related in that it means to accept something that you might not like. However, it often implies having to tolerate it over time. For example, you put up with the noise from the street because you cannot move to a quieter place.
Would you settle for a lake?
I'd settle for agnostic.
You'll have to settle for that.
I'll settle for either one.
But she'll settle for her money back.
How can you let me settle for this?
We'll settle for the nearest motel.
As long as she'll settle for runner-up.
Okay, I'll settle for being your favorite aunt.
Do you think he'd settle for that?
Would you settle for a cheeseburger wrapped in tinfoil?
Everybody else has figured out how to settle for less.
Would you settle for a couple beers, Gav?
Why settle for less when you can have it all?
And you should never settle for less than that.
You know, it's amazing the things that people settle for.
Heck, I'd even settle for a husband.
Why? Why settle for less when you can have it all?
Would you settle for an orange crush instead?
Settle for less and keep a brave face on it.
Now they'll settle for $500, no money down.
Try for what you want and never settle for less.
Well, I guess we'll have to settle for leaving a message.
We think it'll settle for
$1, maybe $2 million.
But under the circumstances, I'll settle for anywhere.
So you got a name, or are you going to settle for Veghead?
I won't settle for anything less than the brutal truth.
I chose to settle for my miracle, and I came back home.
Perhaps you should settle for calling someone.
How come you settle for being a garbage man?
Ladies, don't settle for anything but the real thing.
I guess that's impossible. So I'll settle for an explanation.
Seeing as I'm feeling particularly generous today, I'll settle for $200.
He wants to be loved, but he'll settle for attention.
If you can't get respect, you settle for fear.
But you have a valid claim, and you've made improvements on the house, so I am willing to settle for a third of the estate.